Sometimes life is messy. Have you ever wished you could refocus your mind, home, relationships, and work life? Join us as we use research-based information to make practical changes and simplify life. This is Life Simplified.
This month has been all about food, family, and fun as we've been exploring the different regions in Kentucky. If you've been listening, you know we have been using the 2024 Kentucky Visitor's Guide as a reference. We will link the website in the show notes, and you can use the interactive guide online and request a free printed copy. Today we're going to be talking about bluegrass, blues, barbecue, and Western waterways in the western part of the state. And I will just kind of go on and let you know that this is kind of our area that we're going to be talking about. And we're in the western part of the state of Kentucky. And I'm sure we're going to have lots of other ideas and places that we've all visited throughout our lives down here in the western part. Have you been to the bluegrass, blues, and barbecue western part of the state? And what did you do there? I think I just gave it away, to be honest with you, because we live here.
We live here.
Yes.
This is our zone. So I think we've probably done most of the things. And I encourage visiting this area. Mm-hmm. I mean, I think the western part of the state is pretty amazing.
We have lots of things to do here, and I imagine that we have done several of the things that we'll talk about today. And I'm curious to know if there are some things that we haven't done.
Yeah.
So for me, I probably haven't done maybe a lot of these because I'm actually originally not from this side of the state. My episode is actually more of the Bluegrass Lexington region, and that's actually where I'm from. So I've actually been, I guess, living in the western part of the state about 11 years. So I may not have done some of these, so I may learn something today.
Absolutely. Well, I'll just tell you, when I was doing the research for it and, getting all the attractions, and I wanted to make sure that I tried to get as many as I can because there's so many things to do down here in Western Kentucky. But there's a lot of places that I've never been, and my husband and I were always looking for just an impromptu, trip to go look at something or see something. And I was like, ooh, that's a good place for us to go, for a Saturday or whatever. So I'm just going to tell you, even though I've been here my whole life, there's a lot of places that I have never visited either. So.
Well, we know I've been planning a couple of semi-vacations to some of these places that we have talked about in previous episodes, and I'm thinking that I may come up with a couple of day trips to go to in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah. Get out and see the beautiful parts of Western Kentucky. So we're going to start talking about the Western Waterlands, and if you're not familiar what the Waterlands would be, it's our Kentucky Lake, it's our Barkley Lake, it's also our rivers down here in the western part. So if you love the lake life and you've never got to enjoy far as our Barkley Lake or Kentucky Lake, I encourage you to come because they connect together. It's really cool how they connect together, and they create, a great playground for recreation use on the water. And it also goes into our Land Between the Lakes area. How many times have y'all been to LBL?
I don't know that I could even count them.
A lot. So many times.
But the nature station, I've been to the nature station several times as a child and an adult, and the planetarium.
Mm-hmm.
I've been lots as well, and I've never went to the same place. It seems like, other than like the nature station or the home place and that, but you can get in there and you can get lost really easy, of exploring through there.
There's some good hiking, and then my father-in-law likes to ride motorcycles, and he's gone on some trails there as well. And that's actually on our to-do list for my husband and I, to find a Saturday, which is hard to find a Saturday that is good weather and he's not farming. But if and when we can, we want to do that. Spend the day riding in LBL.
And geocaching, I know that's a big thing, and I think they have some things in LBL.
Yes.
I'm not very familiar with it, but...
Well, I'm not either, but I have a good friend that is, and I know there's several places in LBL where she has went to, find them in that. Also, if you love horseback riding, they have a great Wranglers camp there that you can go horseback riding. Also, they have the elk and bison where you can drive through and see them. My kids, they still, as even the young adults, they still love going through and just seeing. And sometimes it's a hit or miss. Sometimes you see them all, and sometimes they are hidden good. So, but that's another fun place to go.
My parents go like regularly. Just go drive through LBL. They love to see the elk and bison, and they'll take my kids with them a lot too. And they even take their dog. And so they like to go and do that, and then they walk the bridge. They like to walk the bridge over the lake and back. And so they kind of make a full day of it, and then, go to Blues and eat, cheeseburgers and milkshakes and do all the things. So they make a whole day of that pretty regularly. I would say once a month, maybe.
Yeah, and if you don't know what Blues is, it's just a little ice cream place that's got the best ice cream and also hamburgers, and it's right in the Aurora area, which is between Marshall County and also Tree County and Callaway County. So that's a great little place you can hit up after you come through LBL and see all of that.
You can check out the LBL website. They have different themes throughout the summer and fall and all the seasons, but different themes and different activities at the nature station as well as the planetarium.
Absolutely. As we're talking about the lakes, Barkley and Kentucky Lake, there's all different types of resorts that's all from them lakes too that you can go in and grab you something to eat or even stay for the weekend. I know there's a guide that you can go to on where we're talking about the Kentucky Visitors Guide where you can go and see what all the different resorts are that you can go and visit. Also, if you love to learn about history, you can go to Columbus Belmont State Park. And it's talking about far as the history of the Battle of 1861 and General Ulysses S. Grant Union Army invades. That's where one of their army camps was, and it's really cool to go and see because then it's right off from the river too. So I got to actually go when I was an NEP assistant and we had a training there. It was really a cool place. So if you've never been, I encourage you to go there.
That sounds cool. And there you go. That's one I have not done. And my oldest loves history. So I think that he would enjoy that as a day trip.
Yes, they have a museum there. And also they have the bunkers there and everything when it was a camp there. So also, if you love our state parks in Kentucky, you don't want to miss out on the opportunity to stop by our Pennyrile State Park, which is located in Dawson Springs, Kentucky. If you love to play golf, they have a phenomenal golf course there. And then they have all kinds of hiking trails. And also, you could go and explore their hiking trails to search for their lavender husk fluff of a flower called Pennyrile. I did not know that.
I didn't know that either.
I didn't either until I started research, and I thought, that is really cool.
That's funny. I had no clue why we were called the Pennyroyal.
Me neither.
Me neither. Area. I was like, I don't know what that means, but that makes sense.
Yeah. They also do, I've not been, but I've kind of been on my list to do. They have different kayaking things you can go, and they have guided tours, and they also have tours where you can go and see bald eagles. It's the bald eagle tour. I don't know if it's on water or foot. I can't remember, but it was really neat. So that's two things I know that park does.
If you love the lake again, they have a lake there. It's called Bashir Lake, so you can go out on the water while you're checking out one of our state parks.
Do they have a beach there? Is that where the beach is at?
Okay. They do. And if I'm not mistaken, they turn the beach a certain color too. They're able to turn the water into a bluish color. So
that's cool.
That is cool.
If you need to step away from work, and go outside and just enjoy as far as the beautiful outdoorness, you can go to Murray State University's. They have an arboretum. They offer perennial native plants, trees, and flowers, and a butterfly garden while you walk through the path. I used to have a butterfly bush, and I used to love watching the butterflies land on it and that. So this little garden, you can just kind of go and just take a quick little walk and clear your mind and before you go back to work. So if you're in the Murray State area, I encourage you to go check that out as well.
That sounds really cool. That's something that I have not done. but I would like to do that.
Yeah, I haven't really explored Murray State's campus very much. I didn't go to school there. I have lots of friends and family that did, but that's neat to know that that's there.
And then if you want to update your home, the Amish country in Crittenden County, Marion, Kentucky, they have all different types of furniture that you can go look at and purchase. You know, if you just need to update or if you're looking for a certain piece, you can go to Marion, to the Amish country, and find that. And then also, if you're hungry for some really good baked goods, they have lots of little bakeries along in their community, and they're delicious. I will just tell you, they are delicious. Plus, it's right across the river from, if you want to also go explore Cave and Rock, which you can get on the ferry that is on the Ohio River and cross it from Crittenden County over to Cave and Rock and go explore their caves over there, which is another cool little day trip type thing.
And going on the ferry is a really neat experience. That's really fun to do.
Yeah, that was something we've done as a family too, and everybody enjoyed it. So it's good from little bitties all the way up.
If you love to quilt and you've never got to come to Paducah, Kentucky to check out the National Quilt Museum, I encourage you to do so. And also, you'll get to experience during Quilt Week all different types of quilting camp workshops, lectures, and shopping, and also seeing all the beautiful quilts that are on display. If you don't want to come during Quilt Week, that is okay, because they are open all the time. They've got some phenomenal, beautiful quilts that they have displayed as well.
Yeah, and I will say about the Quilt Museum, because I'll be honest, quilting is not my thing, not anything I grew up with, but I had the opportunity through our job to go tour the Quilt Museum, and it was really cool. I was very impressed. It's not probably anything I would have chosen myself to go do, but I'm glad I did. And so I just want to encourage anybody who's listening and thinking like, I don't know about that. It's neat. The things that people across the world can do with quilting is mind-blowing, and it's just really worth it. To me, it's more of like going to an art museum is really what you're doing, and so I have a lot of appreciation for it. So definitely don't overlook it, because I might have, and it was really cool.
I remember going to Quilt Week as a child. My grandmother was a reporter, and it was always fell around take your daughter to work day, and so she took her granddaughter to work, and we would go to the Quilt Museum and see all the different quilts. And like you said, I mean, they're just works of art. And even as an adult, I can appreciate that art, even though I am not a quilter myself.
And that's okay if you're not. You know, it's still a really cool place too. My husband's great grandmother had a quilt that was in the museum for several years in that. And in my neck of the woods is Livingston County. If you want a dinner and a show, you can go to Patty's 1880 Settlement and get one of their famous pork chops. One of the most things that I love the most is their cheese logs. I love them.
I love the flour pot bread.
Yeah, I've never had the cheese log, but I've had the bread before.
Yeah.
You're missing out on those cheese logs.
Yes, you are.
Like, you're missing out.
I mean, I don't think you can go wrong. Just anything.
Anything you get there is good.
Desserts, all the things.
Everything. I think we've been a couple of times, Ashley, where we've just got appetizers and split it.
We just split all the appetizers.
All of it, in which it has all of that, the cheese logs and everything like that in it. Also, after you get done, get your belly full, jump on over far as to Baggett Playhouse. They have over 15 shows, family-friendly shows that they do every year, you know, and they change it all the time of what they're doing, and it's really cool. Then if you want a place to stay, you can, you know, go over to Lighthouse Landing and rent one of their cottages, or Green Turtle Bay and rent one of, you know, their cottages over there too on the lake. So there's all different kinds of things to do in Grand Rivers, Kentucky.
And there's the shops at Patty's too. There's good shopping around the holidays. There's the lights. There's lots of fun things.
They have a big craft weekend, don't they? Is
They do. Is it Labor Day?
Yeah. Honestly, they have all different types of festivals all year long. And if you're curious on what kind of activities they have in Grand Rivers, I encourage you to go to Grand Rivers Tourism website, because they're all listed there. We have a blues beer festival. I mean, we tie in with the Quilt Week whenever we have our own quilt show. And, like this past weekend, they had dancing on the streets, so they're always doing something there. Down in our neck of the woods, we have Casey Jones Distillery that also makes bourbon. Also, Casey Jones, I thought it was really interesting because we just went on a FCS, a professional improvement day to Casey Jones not too long ago, and it was really interesting to learn that he was famous for his copper pots and his copper stills, I guess is what you could say, and that he was just famous. I mean, because it was during the Prohibition time, and it was just really cool. And they had his original still there, and just seeing the history behind that and how he made it, and how because we have all kinds of different distilleries around here in Kentucky, and it's just seeing the history behind it and who makes the best bourbon.
Yeah, it's really neat. And so Christian County is my home county and also the county I work in. And so we have 2 distilleries here, Casey Jones and then MB Roland. And they are because we're on the southern part of Kentucky, we connect to Tennessee. They're part of this thing that's called the State Line Bourbon Trail. And so you can visit them, and you can visit Casey Jones, and then you can find your way down to MB Roland. And then if you just go straight over the state line into Tennessee, not far into it, you'll find Old Glory Distillery. And so those 3 kind of comprise the State Line Bourbon Tour. And so that's something you could do if that is really part of your thing and you think you want to visit this part of the state. You could kind of get a mini bourbon tour across state lines.
And as you leave the distilleries, you can just pop on over to Oak Grove, which is still in Christian County, and go to their racing, gaming, and hotel so you can go win you some extra money by watching the races. And they have over 1,200 games that you can be part of. And also they have different rock entertainments from time to time. And then you can go check out the entertainment at the Moonshine Amphitheater.
I actually was just there for a concert not even 2 weeks ago at their Moonshine Amphitheater. It was the first time I'd caught a show there and at their outdoor place, and it's right in the center of their carriage racing track. And it was really cool. It's a nice little place. They've gotten some names that are really recognizable coming in, and it's nice to have something so close to home to do for entertainment. It's also a really nice, if casinos are your thing, it's very nice. They have some good restaurants. I have eaten at their steakhouse. It was good. And they have all kinds of different events. Like in the wintertime, they had an indoor venue where they had dueling pianos, and that was a fun show. So there's a lot going on there. So if you're in the area and that's something you're interested in, check out their events because they've got something new going pretty much every weekend.
Here's some highlights for, the Western Waterways, maybe far as a perfect play date at the Great River Road regions. Also, Mantle Rock, which is also in Livingston County, and it's located in Smithland. That is another place that is cool to visit. And then Living History Museum, which is the Smith Garrett House, which is at Asmore Museum in Princeton, Kentucky. Go and check out the batter capital of the world in Hopkinsville, Kentucky, and celebrate their giant sculpture of wheat stalks and pancake stacks. So if you would like to know more about that area, the Western Waterfalls, then you can go to the Kentucky Guide and check out all the different areas that is in that region. Another one of my favorites is the Bluegrass Blues and Barbecue. I love a good barbecue. I'm just telling you, I love a good barbecue. And I have a couple of places that I love to go. And but I also worked for a barbecue place for 12 years.
Okay.
From when I was a teenager until I had my oldest son. And then I went back to work for them couple of years after I had him in that. So I guess that's my roots with the barbecue, and that I love a good pork sandwich, and my favorite is a pork sandwich on garlic bread with coleslaw on top of it. So
you had me at garlic bread, you lost me at coleslaw.
Also, a lot of people like to put it that I know is put it on a piece of cornbread,
I do love cornbread with my barbecue.
Yeah.
I will say.
It's delicious.
Yeah.
if you're ready to drift on down to Ohio River to the Sound of Bluegrass Music Hall of Fame and Museum in Owensboro, Kentucky. It's right off the Ohio River there. It's really an awesome place to visit. If you have little kids or even bigger kids, they have a phenomenal playground right there on their riverfront. They have a great walking trail, swings, even for adults to sit in and just sit there and enjoy, the boats going by on the Ohio River.
If you're there during the summer, they do have Friday After 5 event every Friday, and they have bands, multiple bands, so it's different genres, so you can kind of tour it and listen to kind of whatever you want to, and it's a free event. So if you're there during the summer.
And then, you could stay in Owensboro to celebrate Kentucky's tradition over 2 days in May. Savor the flavor with barbecue barrels, which is barbecue and bourbon tasting. So another great opportunity if you like bourbon to check that out. Barbecue is in all parts of the world. Everybody's barbecue is different from one another's, and that you can try barbecue in one area and then go to the next area and it may be completely different. That's okay if it is. Everybody's taste buds are different, but it's just neat to see, the differences of how everybody does it.
And everybody has their favorite.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes. That's what I was thinking. I'm that person that if I'm in another state and they're like barbecue, I'm like, no, it's not. I'm sorry. I'm like, I can't even risk it. I don't know what this is going to look like or taste like.
Well, I have a friend years ago, we went on a trip with her and her family, and we stopped in a place in Alabama. I'm not going to mention it, but I love it. So anytime me and my family, we went to the beach for a vacation, we would always have to come back through this place in Alabama to get it because I turned my family on this barbecue place, and we love it.
They also have, if you're into bourbon, they have the Green River Distillery there in Owensboro. And not a lot of people know. They changed their name recently, but they have a really good tour. So if you like to go, and they make their bourbon in an innovative way.
And I think that's something that people don't think about. They know us for bourbon in Kentucky, but they don't realize it's literally all over the state. Now, there are certain areas, and we have an episode on that, you can listen, where you have the highest concentration of bourbon distilleries and things, but it's really everywhere. So no matter what area of the state you're checking out, you can probably find somewhere to sample their style of bourbon.
Okay, as you leave the Owensboro area, just hop on over to Henderson, Kentucky, to their beautiful scenic waterfront place. They also have a great play area just like Owensboro. After you leave the Owensboro area, just travel on to Madisonville, Kentucky to see the Grapevine Lake mountain biking trail and pedal the loop over the bridge along the lake and around the obstacles. Is that the park that we've been to, Amanda, where you go and have different activities where y'all's new building is going to be?
No, it's actually a separate park. So it is an actual bike park, and so people take their bicycles. There is like some walking, but a lot of people like it, just a off-terrain type area. And then they have like a little lake down there too, so people can go fishing and different things like that.
I wasn't for sure when I read that if that was the park or not. That was where y'all's new building was going to be located.
Yeah, that's Mar Park, and it's beautiful. It's known for their disc golf. They have like a nationally known. They've hosted the National Disc Golf Tournament there. So if you've never been, it's really cool. They also have kayaks you can rent and paddle boats, and it's just a really good scenic park to go to with a lot of things to do.
Okay, some of the other regional highlights. Eat your way in barbecue from Henderson to Pilot Oak in Tompkinsville, the heart of West Kentucky Barbecue Trail. You can try pork, mutton, chicken, beef, and there is so much more that you can try. Also, after you eat all the delicious barbecue, go relax while you're paddling down the Tradewater River, which is in Dawson Springs, Kentucky. And you can float on down to the Lover's Leap and the Devil Dining Table against the scenic backdrop of a small waterfall while you're floating down the river there. After resting up while on the Tradewater, try your luck at the Ellis Park Racing and Gaming location, which is in Henderson, Kentucky. Ellis Park is operated by the Churchill Downs Incorporated. I didn't know that.
That's recent, in the past year or so, that they kind of transitioned to that.
And then this area that I'm going to talk about, I will tell a story on my family. My children would go to meet a family member in middle between here and Cincinnati. And every time we go through Central City and across the bridge, my husband, since my kids was small, and he actually calls me now and still does it, and he'll sing me the song Paradise. It's just one of our things, but Muhlenberg County is known for Bye Bye Love, 16 Tons, and Paradise. You learn the history of song from the Muhlenberg Music Museum in Muhlenberg, Kentucky.
They also have Lake Malone Park there.
Yes.
Is it a state park?
Yes.
And they have the huge sticks.
Yeah.
They're
like giants.
Huge, yeah, like giants. I'm not I think there's a name for them, and I can't really think about it off the top of my head, but they're like giant people made out of like sticks, and I think they have like 6 or 8 that you can go just kind of look at. So it's definitely something to see. It's on my list to do. I haven't been able to do that, but I think any age adults or kids would think that would be neat to look at.
They're called the Big Twigs.
Okay. Big.
You know, we have so many different things, you know, in Western Kentucky, you know, to experience. And I know I did not mention every one of them because there is so many. And, you know, if you have experienced and come to Western Kentucky, and if I did not mention something about down here in the state, and if you've experienced it, let us know, you know, because I'm always learning that we've got different things down here, and just, you know, share them experience with us. And if you have been to any of the places that we have talked about today, you know, let us know. Send us pictures, you know, tell us hey, we made a day trip to such and such place. We would love to hear from you all about that. Well, thanks for listening today. If you would like to know more about these 2 regions that I have talked about today, I encourage you to go to the 2024 Kentucky Visitors Guide. You know, they have all different types of things on their website, and also you can request a book about what's offered in the state of Kentucky. Thanks for listening. This is Life Simplified.
Thanks for listening to Life Simplified. We are family and consumer sciences agents with the University of Kentucky Cooperative Extension Service. Contact us at lifesimplifiedpodcast@gmail.com.